Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you how to control steering in a car. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of controlling your steering while you drive. I'll be outlining a few steering situations, and I'll basically be going over turning right and turning left, making a sharper turn like a 3-point turn, and then staying centered in the lane or on the street while you drive. I'll start off by explaining it, and then I'll actually drive on the street and I'll demonstrate it. All right, without further ado, let's get right into the driving lesson. There are basically 4 factors that come into play. Number 1 is hand placement. Number 2 is turning method, so the method that you use for turning the wheel. Number 3 is the position of the wheel as you turn it when you're making a turn. And number 4 are the minor adjustments that you make, whether you're driving in a straight line, trying to stay centered, or making any sort of turn. All right, let's get right to it. Factor number 1 is hand placement. You want to have a balanced approach on the steering wheel. If you can imagine your steering wheel as a clock, one option is the 10 and 2 position. You have 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Another option is the 9 and 3, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Another option is the 12 o'clock position if you're going to be driving with one hand. Now, I recommend driving with 2 hands as often as possible, but there are situations in which you should be driving with one hand, like if you're driving a manual car and you have to shift gears. So it's important to know how to use both options, one-handed steering and two-handed steering. But the point is, you should have a balanced approach on the steering wheel. The second factor is the method for turning the wheel. Now, there are so many ways that you can turn the wheel, but here are the most popular ones. First and foremost, hand over hand, which is, if you have 2 hands on the wheel like this, one hand is turning the wheel, the other hand goes over, then this hand goes under, over, under, and so forth. Just like this, okay? Turning the wheel over, under, just like that, okay? Now, another option is going to be push-pull steering, which is if you have 2 hands on the wheel, one hand is pulling the wheel down, and the other hand is sliding to meet it at the bottom. Then, the other hand is pushing the wheel up. You switch hands, and this hand is sliding. So one hand does the work, the other hand slides. Very simple, just like that. Very simple. One hand is moving the wheel, the other hand is sliding to meet it. And the third steering method that I want to outline is the palming method, which is if you have one hand on the wheel, you open your hand up, and it's hard to see because of the lighting. You open your hand up and you push against the steering wheel, and it allows you to turn. Now your hand rotates on the steering wheel just like that. And it's very useful for turning the wheel quickly. It's not as effective at actually controlling the movement of the wheel, but if you want to turn the wheel quickly and you just need to go all the way to the right or all the way to the left with regards to the wheel turning, then it's a very good method. And I'll show you on the road in just a few moments. The third factor is the position of the wheel as you turn it or as you're holding it. Now, if you're trying to drive in a straight line, obviously the position of the wheel should just be straight up like that, right? If you want to stay centered. And if you are making a turn, if it's a very sharp turn, like a 3-point turn, you're going to have to turn the wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right and, multiple times. But if you're just making a regular turn, it varies. So, you might have to turn the wheel, half of a turn for some turns, 3/4 of a turn, maybe even a whole turn, depending on how sharp that right or left-hand turn is. And the fourth factor, the last factor, are these micro adjustments, these minor adjustments that you make. If you're trying to stay centered, you're making minor adjustments to keep that car in a nice, relatively straight line. If you're turning, you're going to turn the wheel to the turning position, and you're going to make little adjustments. Now, these adjustments are there to keep the curvature and the straight line as perfect as possible, because we're humans, so we can't make perfect turns and stay in perfectly straight lines, so we use these adjustments to perfect them. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm just in a parking lot. We're going to make our way onto the road, and then I'll show you basically by going straight on the road, staying centered, and then making some turns, and then a 3-point turn, what I was talking about with regards to controlling the steering of the car. All right, so we're going to make a right over here. So watch this. I'm going to put my right signal on. Now, I'm not going over the safety procedures because this is about steering, but I'm going to go through all my safety procedures, and I'm going to use hand over hand to turn the wheel, sharp turn, and then release it just like that. Now, I'm driving on a street and I want to stay centered. So I have 2 hands on the wheel like this, and I'm making little adjustments. Now, there's speed bumps on the street, it should also be noted, but I'm making little adjustments just like this. You can see my hand's moving just slightly, and that allows me to keep the car in this nice straight line, and I'm looking ahead down the street as well. Now, with that being said, if you were using one hand, I'm putting it at the top center, 12 o'clock position. And once again, you can see I'm making little adjustments to keep the wheel straight, to keep the car straight, okay? It's as simple as that. What I'll do is I'll make a left-hand turn up here, we'll make a right-hand turn, and then we'll do a 3-point turn. So I'm approaching this stop sign right over here, 2 hands on the wheel, doing my safety procedures to make sure that it's actually safe to make this turn. Now check this out. You can see this turn right here, accelerating smoothly, turning the wheel, holding it with micro adjustments, and then releasing it, just like that. Very, very simple. Now I'll make this right-hand turn, and I'll actually use push-pull steering, which is something that I haven't used yet. Once again, I'm going through my safety procedures to make sure that it's actually safe to make this turn, and we're going to use push-pull steering right now, just like this. The sliding of the hands, and then release. Now the cool thing about push-pull steering is that your hands are always staying on the right and left sides of the wheel. Your hands are not sort of switching positions, right? So that's one really cool thing about it. We'll make one more turn here with push-pull steering, just like this. Then release it. And last but not least, I'm going to be showing you a 3-point turn. So I'm going to pull over to the right side of the road. You can see I just barely press the wheel to the right, come to a complete stop. I'm going to do all my safety precautions before I do the 3-point turn. That includes looking around, putting my signal on so everyone knows what I plan on doing, checking all around the car, my mirrors, my blind spots. And as soon as the truck passes, I should be good to go. Actually, there's one car right now that is approaching. So as soon as the car behind me passes, I should be good to go. We're all good. All right, I'm gonna use the palming method now to turn the wheel all the way to the left for the 3-point turn. This is when the palming method is very useful, simply because you wanna turn the wheel as quickly as possible to the left and the right, and you don't need precision. You are just turning the wheel all the way to the left or to the right, just like this. So you don't need any precision, and that's when something like the palming method would be very useful. But that's basically it. In this video, I have gone over how to control steering in a car. It's a very simple driving lesson, and it's important to know how to properly control your steering, because even if you're just going in a straight line, you're still steering the car, because keeping the car centered is still a method of steering the car. You're still making those micro adjustments, looking far ahead and just making those small adjustments. So I just wanted to go over steering a car and how to control the steering of a car. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment, and of course be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.